Mitt Romney gave this speech in which he talked about our war for the liberation of Iraq. I mean, he gave that speech today talking about how we went in there to liberate those people. His top foreign policy advisor in the 2012 campaign was Dan Senor, who had been the advisor, or the spokesman for the Iraq war in Baghdad. The big foreign policy speech at the Republican convention was Condoleezza Mushroom Cloud Rice. I mean, they still think Iraq was a good idea and are still trying to sell it.
But, Bill, they told us at the time, I mean, look, a lot of us, you know, you're looking at that vote historically, they said the oil was going to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
We're $2 trillion into it.
But also, let me just say this. I mean, we have 10 years now. There's somewhat perspective, but that's not a lot of perspective for any country.
Correct.
If you looked at America in 1786, it didn't look that great, right? And I also must say, I got to admit, it's a country that's standing. I thought it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's actually doing better than I thought it would be. Is it a great country? No. Does it have a lot of problems? Yes. But there actually is a country standing there called Iraq, and I don't know what. No,
but I mean,
it's never going to be worth what the cost was. But is there some value in having created a country, Iraq? That's
it is of great value to Iran. Iran has an ally that it never had before. It has bigger regional influence.
That's true.
The Shiites have influence there that's cross-border in a way that it never would have been before.
But
so we did internationally affect Iran's sphere of influence.
To me, the reason why your question is so hard to answer is because I don't think many Americans, I'd include myself, really ever understood what victory meant in this context. What would it look like if we were successful there? I mean, this is a war that originally one of Bush's economists said this could cost 100 to 200 billion, and he got fired for saying that because they said it would cost 50 to 60 billion and it might take a matter of months at the most. We're now at 3 trillion and climbing. And, you know, while we can all have great disagreements about whether this war was a good or a bad idea, I think everyone who can hear my voice would agree that we have to have an unwavering commitment to the veterans, who many of whom are coming away wounded at far higher rates than any other conflict we've ever had. And by the way, that takes you right back to that budget discussion, because the budgets that we were criticizing before fail to account for those people's needs going forward.
Well, I heard Jeb Bush this week say that history will treat his brother very kindly. And, well, you never know about history. I mean,
look, Truman has been rehabilitated through time, and he was almost, you know, he left under.
But I will say this. I will say this nice thing about George Bush. So many of these people who made these comments about the war, Dick Cheney and Wolfowitz and Rumsfeld, and they were so wrong. They've continued to speak about the war, which I think is unconscionable since they were so wrong. George Bush really did go quietly to his room and think about what he did.
Yeah. We think.
Well, I think
I just at one point, I think when we think about our responsibilities to veterans, we are failing in a big way there, particularly the VA with the backlogs on disability claims. Right. It's unconscionable, people waiting more than a year as an average now to get those claims filled. But the other responsibility that we have to veterans and to future veterans and to ourselves is that we change as a country so that we don't ever do that again. Right. Iraq was to stop the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam was going to kill us with. It was a lie. It was a lie, and we failed as a country and as a political system to stop that lie from being used to justify a war that never should have happened.
But yeah,
and until there's tenets on that, we haven't done right by that issue.
Let me ask this: if we didn't know what victory in Iraq would look like, what does victory in Afghanistan look like?
Oh, we don't have time to get into this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's over. But Bill O'Reilly did say, if the Americans go in and overthrow Saddam and he has nothing, I will apologize to the nation. Yes.